Hello, welcome to Champion Tax Strategy. My name is Michelle LaForte, and I am the Director of Tax Strategy here. I was thinking about a case that we had that was not the common case, but wanted to kind of give you, what if I owe 400 plus $1,000 in withholdings in my business? All right, so this is a corporate case. It is called a trust fund penalty recovery case. Now, these can go two ways. They can stay civil, which this one did, or they can be charged criminally for tax evasion. If you don't pay your withholding taxes that you held out of your paychecks for your employees, the IRS barrels down on you like a freight train with the lights on and the whistle blowing. So let's talk about how to resolve a case like this. So we had about $480,000 in corporate penalties for failure to pay withholdings, failure to make trust fund deposits. There were also civil penalties to the individual, to the owner of the corporation, for about $80,000 on their personal. So once we did our fact-finding mission, we found non-compliance in both the corporate realm and in the personal realm. So we had to get some taxes filed. We cannot do a resolution of any kind until you are compliant. So we have to file all back taxes. So we got the taxes filed and got the numbers squared away. There was a revenue officer on the case. And so we began communication with the revenue officer immediately. Told him what we were going to do. We worked with an accountant who, what we found was this accountant kept amending returns. And so there was a real concern about getting the employee retention credit through COVID, and kept amending these returns. And once we started reviewing the returns and finding errors, we stopped that incessant amendment process, which was holding up being able to resolve any of this because you have to be processed for compliance. And so we found some problems. The CPA did not have the ability to e-file returns, which we found significantly distressing. So they were being mailed in. The over and over. I can't tell you how frustrating it is to have seen these amendments come in. So a failure of the CPA to perform their duties on a professional level. And so we took it over and we got things filed electronically, got them processed. We were faxing them to the revenue officer. The revenue officer was, really good about taking the returns for us and helping them get it through. We also referred the client to the taxpayer services. So we filed a Form 911 and got taxpayer advocate services so that they could help us push these through. We canned out all the amendments that had gone in and we're waiting to process, and gave them returns that were properly prepared. And taxpayer advocate service worked with us. The revenue officer worked with us. This was a very intensive case. Not all cases that we get are this intensive. So we got all of that done. And then we got them on an installment agreement. Now, they had been on a partial pay installment agreement for quite some time, but they weren't being paid on time. And I'm telling you, on installment agreements, if you pay them a minute late, they'll default you on them. They'll keep taking your money, but then they'll go to collection efforts. Like I believe there was a levy on a bank account in this one. We had to go back in and say, the funds were being used for business purposes. Can we get them back? The revenue officer helped us get those funds back. We never get all of them. If you have a bank levy, it's a rarity that we would get all of it back, but we got a large portion back so that they could be used for business purposes. So this case, my fear in this case was that it was going to go criminal at some point. with all the intensity with the revenue officer. But he was a pretty good guy, and our guy really tried to get this stuff under control. So we showed unprofessional conduct and asked for extensions, and he was pretty good about giving them to us as a revenue officer. Revenue officers, I've always said this, I think it just literally says on the job requisition when they apply for the job, they have to be an asshole. Sorry, but that's how I personally feel. Some of these people as revenue officers, they don't listen to us. They don't care. Their job is to collect, and that's what they're there to do. With the new legislation that's going in, I wanted to approach this topic just based on the fact that, you know, the IRS is going to get nothing but more hardcore. $80 billion going to majority enforcement, to building up their business model so that they have more ways of finding tax evasion. In 2018, they modernized the system, and the majority of our clients showed 2018 underreporting issues where 1099s and W-2s could be matched from businesses turning them in to recipients individually getting them. Failure to file those was a huge component of these underreporting issues. So we fear that that's going to be an issue as well. As soon as the IRS begins the modernization of this system, they're going to have a better way of finding things. I think one of the pieces or components that they were looking at did some changes last year. Anything bank transaction over $500, even if it's on Venmo or Chime, PayPal, those are now reported directly to the IRS. They have access to them. And so all these YouTubers and online merchants and things like that who were skimming by because their merchant services weren't over $20,000, so they weren't really getting a 1099 for those, that's going to change. We're going to see people, and I don't know how far back they're going to go. If they backdate these services where they can go in and pull these up for the last 3 years, last 5 years, whatever the case may be, they're going to find tax evasion, or what we call there's two situations. It's either tax evasion or tax avoidance. If you take care of it, it's tax avoidance. If they clearly prove that you were trying to outsmart them or evade them, then it can go criminal. Take care of it now. That's our suggestion. You know, this guy did a real good job of taking care of the situation. We found out what the problem was. You know, you're paying a CPA who has unprofessional conduct, really sucking some money out of this guy for unprofessional services. Once we got it taken care of and got him up and running, he got that partial pay installment agreement for the business. You know, it's a corporation. We can even put a corporation in a resolution category. And so we got it taken care of, and honestly, haven't heard from the guy since. So I'm assuming that everything was hunky-dory and taken care of. So if you have any corporate consideration, do you qualify for resolution? Have you failed to pay withholdings and have trust fund penalty recovery situation? Give us a call. Love these cases. They're a little bit more intense, which for me, I like it. Happy to see if we can qualify you for something. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to call us at 316-867-6069 or go right on our website, championtaxstrategy.com, click the little button and schedule your appointment. We prefer to get on the phone with the IRS with you after we get some information and find out, you know, the nuts and bolts of your situation so that we can speak to you in a manner consistent with reality. Leave messages, like this video, subscribe if you would. There's always tax tips coming. Have a great day. Be blessed.